Hi, my name is Patricia, and I'm here in Copenhagen, and I'm excited to introduce you to Marine Gastineau. Marine is a photographer, and she's been part of the Reconstruction of Identities project. Reconstruction of Identities was launched in 2018 and explores subjects such as cultural identity and cultural heritage. And Marine will tell us more about her own project, which is called Identity in Between. Hi, Marine.
Hi, Patricia. Hi, good to see you. Yes, so on this matter, I was sent by Copenhagen Photo Festival on a photo residency in the town of Savignano, so Rubicone, where there is a Senegalese community living there. So I was very lucky to be able to document their everyday life during this residency last year.
Yeah, so you met this diaspora during your residency in Italy. What was it like meeting them for the first time?
I was very excited to meet them because we've been preparing this meeting for quite a while, and they are very lucky to have a main contact called Bara. That is the main contact for this Senegalese community, and he's very engaged in having the community meeting other people and be part of different cultural projects. And therefore, he had organized a lot of meetings for me, and I was able to navigate and meet a lot of families, a lot of people in different contexts. So I was very excited to start this project.
Yeah, and one of the people you met, you've taken a very beautiful portrait of. It's this woman with the pink dress. Could you tell us a little bit more about who she is?
Yeah, the pink boo-boo, as we call it. This woman lives in Savignano, in the center of Savignano, so Rubicone, and she's named Lisa. She's married to Maurice, and they have 3 kids. And they are a Catholic family, and this is an interesting fact that in this community, most of the family are Muslims. And it's not an issue at all that they have different cultural religious view. In the contrary, they're very connected to each other. So it was really interesting to spend time with Lisa and follow her in her everyday life. And she invited me at her home so we could cook a mafe. It's a traditional dish, and then after cooking with the woman, I was watching football with the man. So it was quite a nice experience to be welcome in their family, and they were very open-hearted. And I really wanted to make a portrait that could reflect also the spirit of her. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to see many different parts of their everyday life during your stay there.
Yes, I was also invited. They have a community house, almost like a cultural center community house, where they have a big garden where they actually import their own seeds and some of their own vegetables that they grow in Senegal, and they manage actually to grow them again in Italy. And so they meet sometimes for big events around this house and in the garden, and they grow their own vegetables. And it's very interesting to witness this kind of small rituals they have. And then they also have this kind of ladies' nights where all the women dress up and they visit each other, go house by house, and then have big parties. And this is because they have to collect money sometimes to support each other. So instead of going, for the state and all, they actually use themselves. They use the community, the family, the friendship, all those relationships they have, and then they collect the support they need. And I was supposed actually to be invited for one of those parties, so maybe I'll be able to do it next time.
Yes, once the borders open.
Yeah, exactly.
So with this field, it's almost like having a small part of Senegal in Italy, you could say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a big community, and they have been living there for more than 10 years. So the kids, they go to school, the men, they work, and maybe that's why the project is called Identity in Between, because they are part of course, this huge Senegalese community, but it is in Italy still. And I think maybe it's easier for their children because they've been born there and all. But for example, Lisa, she's still struggling to find a work, and she's trying to feel like more part of the Italian everyday life there is happening in the small town of Savignano. So this also reflects the challenge that they can meet.
So to a certain degree, it is still a parallel society that's still sort of finding its way into the Italian community.
Yes, but yeah, I'm trying to be very careful saying parallel, because it can mean a lot of things, and I don't want to be so black and white about it. So I feel this is what they told me, that this is the way they felt. So these are not my words, but also their stories, and I really wanted to try to explain that in the pictures. So yeah, so I'm very careful and not completely closed on that subject. But I think that, yeah, this is the feeling that some of the family had, and I could see also the way they were living, that yeah, they were a lot together, and of course they work and go to school, but there's a part missing, definitely.
Yeah, and the whole series, which we're seeing a bit of more of here, has a very sort of particular and effectful style, especially in regards to how you use light and shadow. Could you tell us a bit more about your considerations in regards to that?
Yes. So that, yeah, exactly. So the whole idea in the photo series that I present is that most of the portraits or the scenes that I show are made with this duality of light and shadow, and for me it was a new way for me to talk about immigration without being a classical documentary or a reportage kind of story. And I wanted actually to try to play with this notion, this metaphor of light and shadow, to express that idea that they live in this in between, and how can you express this in between. And I was trying to find a creative way to use actually the light and the shadow to do that.
Yeah, because the story you are telling is quite different from the ones we normally hear about migration and what it might cost. Do you think that is needed, like another view on it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's always interesting to try to find different ways to tell the same story. I think this is what it's crucial, that we keep finding personal ways of not that there is one correct way of telling a story, but I think it's interesting to try to play around to convey an idea or a feeling. And I think that in this series particularly, I mostly wanted to convey a feeling, an atmosphere, and I wanted to show how beautiful the meetings I had were, and I wanted really to make beautiful portraits and pictures for those families. So that was definitely something I had in mind when I did those pictures.
Yeah, it sounds like a really like interesting and different experience. What made the biggest impact on you when you visited this community?
They're completely open-hearted and warm energy, and I didn't doubt that it would be nice meetings, but it was very overwhelming. I mean, we got very close very fast, and then I'm still in touch with some of them, and I'm looking very forward for them to stand next to me, if it's possible, and enjoy the pictures together. And I'm really looking forward to have, to hear their reflection on what they will see. But I think, yeah, we got very close very fast, and I mean, very amazed that, yeah, I was welcomed everywhere, and people would really looking forward to have me back, and they would invite us for coffee, and then they will invite us for breakfast, and then we'll do lunch, and then we'll do dinner, and then we'll watch the football, and then I will be playing ball with the kids, and it kept on. And at some point I almost had to go because it was late, and then you had to but it was, and I think even at one point they got me dressed also for the cooking. So yeah, it was a very nice experience.
Yeah, because hopefully you get to go back this fall, because the exhibition will also be presented in Savignano.
Yes.
Has anybody in the family seen the pictures yet?
I think the Italian partner made a small preview and invited some of the families and showed them some of the behind the scenes and the pictures, but they haven't shown them the final series. And also, so I'm looking super forward for them to see it. And then definitely, I was already, the day I left Savignano, I already decided that I wanted to continue this project, and then I would definitely, when I would come back to Italy, take some more portraits and continue this series.
Definitely. So it's not a finished project yet.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I think we can do some more, and it's very powerful to have those meetings in the world and open up our hearts and then our minds, and it's and to convey the stories. So definitely, I would love to do that.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, Marine. I think it was really interesting, and I hope everyone who's watching would want to go to Sønder Boulevard, where some of the pictures are shown now. And if you're watching from abroad, you can also go to the project's website or to its Instagram, where you can read more about it. So thank you so much for watching.
You're welcome. Bye, Patricia.
Bye.